my dear learners. Hi, my dear audience. This is Sikriti Joshi, and welcome to the world of exploration. Welcome to the world of learning. Let's start exploring. Let's start learning. So we are going to dive deep into the recesses of the last lesson. So we are going to begin with the last lesson, which is written by Alphonse Daudet, who was a French novelist and short story writer. The last lesson is basically set in the days of Franco-Prussian War. So it is set in the days of Franco-Prussian War. Please remember it. 1870 to 1871, in which France was defeated by Prussia. So in this war, France was defeated by Prussia, which was led by Bismarck. Right? Prussia then consisted of what now are the nations of Germany, Poland, and parts of Austria. In the story, the French districts of Alsace and Lorraine have passed into Prussian hands. You need to read the story to find out what effect this had on the life at school. Right now, these expressions have been given. I have already made several videos regarding the word meanings and the phrases, the expressions used in the lesson. So you can just go and check it out. Right? Clear? I have given the meanings of these words over there. Now, let's start reading the chapter. I started for school very late that morning and was in great dread of a scolding, especially because M. Hamel. Now here you need to concentrate on M. Hamel, who was the teacher. So we come to know that he was the teacher, right? So I started for school very late, and we also come to know that he started for school very late. Again, which you need to underline, right? That morning, and was in a great dread. Great dread we have discussed in being, in great fear of something, of a scolding. Usually, if you have been told by a teacher, by a school teacher, to be prepared on a specific topic, to prepare a specific topic, herein the teacher had asked, M. Hamel had asked the child, Franz, right, to prepare the topic participles, that he would question them on participles. So he was not prepared. So he was in great dread of that scolding. He was in great fear of getting scolded that day. So especially because M. Hamel, who is the teacher, had said that he would question us on participles, and I did not know the first word about them, and he was not aware even about the first word because he did not study. We get to see how we tend to neglect the time that we have, the precious time. Whenever we talk about time is very precious, and we should utilize it to the utmost level that we can, right? So for a moment I thought of running away and spending the day out of doors. So for a moment he thought of running away. He just thought of running away and out of doors. It was so warm, so bright. So according to children, according to you people also, you might be thinking that it is a very sedentary life to sit in school. It's so monotonous, it's so boring, damn boring. And outside it's so warm, it's so bright. Similarly, he also had this thought. And he also loved the birds chirping at the edge of the woods. So he also loved to have that spectacle wherein he could see the birds chirping at the edge of the woods. And in the open field back of the sawmill, the Prussian soldiers were drilling, right? So at the back of the sawmill, the Prussian soldiers were basically exercising. It was all military exercise here, and we are talking about the military exercise, right? It was all much more tempting than the rule for participles. So all of this seemed to be much more tempting, to be much more exciting than the rules of those boring participles that he was supposed to be prepared, right? That he was supposed to be prepared and ready, right? So but I had the strength to resist and hurried off to school. But now he showcased his strength to resist, and he hurried off to school, right? Because he could resist. All these thoughts were coming in his mind, but he just he resisted uh, away, and he hurried off to the school. When I passed the town hall, there was a crowd in in front of that bulletin board. Bulletin board is usually the board from which for the past 2 years all our bad news had come from there. So all the bad news that he used to consider bad had come from that particular bulletin board. So for the past 2 years, all the bad news had come from there. It could be about the lost battles, it could be about the draft, it could be about the orders, it could be the orders of the commanding officer. And I thought to myself, without stopping, what can be the matter now? And he just stopped for a moment, and he pondered over that. Now what could be the matter now? Let's see. Then, as I hurried by as fast as I could go, the blacksmith watcher, who was there with his apprentice, right, reading the bulletin, called after me, "Don't go so fast, bub. You'll get to your school in plenty of time." So now he is being told that you don't need to run so fast, you don't need to go so fast. You'll get in plenty of time. You'll get into your school in plenty of time, right? Because then I thought he was making fun of me. Then he started thinking that, is he making fun of me? Is he mocking? No. And finally he reached M. Hamill's little garden, all out of breath. So he was out of his breath, he was out of his breath totally, because he was running, and when we run, we fall short, right? We run out of our breath. So he also similarly, when he reached M. Hamill's little garden, he was all out of breath. Usually when school began, there was a great bustle, which could be heard out in the street. The opening and closing, when we talk about bustle, we talk about the hustle and bustle, right? That there's a lot of crowd, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of hustle and bustle. Everybody's moving here and there's a lot of movement that is taking place, right? Which could be heard out in the street. So it could be heard out in the street even, right? Sometimes the noise that the children tend to make, that goes out in the street as well. So the opening and closing of, now the noise, which noise has been talked about over here is the opening and the closing of desks. When you open and you close the desk, then the kind of noise that is made. Lessons repeated in unison, the lessons that are repeated in unison, that is together, right? Very loud, and our hands over our ears to understand better, and our hands were over our ears in order to understand better, in order to grasp better the concepts. And the teacher's great ruler wrapping around on the table, and the teacher's great ruler, because whenever we talk about M. Hamill, the teacher, he always used to have a ruler, right? He always possessed a ruler, and he used to wrap it on the table. But now it was also still, that was in order to discipline children, that ruler, because he seemed to be very, very strict, and therefore we could see that how Franz was, full of fear from M. Hamill, because he was a very strict teacher otherwise. So with our hands over our ears to understand better, and the teacher's great ruler rapping on the table. But now it was all so still. But now the situation seemed to be absolutely absurd. In fact, nobody can imagine that how the situation changed. Now it was all still, right? It was so still. I had counted on the commotion to get to my desk without being seen. But of course, that day everything had to be as quiet as Sunday morning. Why Sunday morning? Because we talk about in Christianity, Sunday is a very pious day, and in the morning prayers are done. So it was so quiet, as if it is some pious place. It is some quiet place. It is some place wherein prayers are being done. I had counted on to commotion to get to my desk without being seen, but of course, that day everything had to be as quiet as Sunday morning. Through the window, I saw my classmates. So he thought that he would be able to escape. He would be able to make his, he would be able to sit on his seat, but that day he could not afford to escape. He was seen by the teacher. He was seen by the other classmates around him, right? And also because of the fact that when we talk about Sunday morning, Sunday is a holiday. Obviously we all know, right? Sunday is a holiday, and on Sunday nobody is there. So it was like Sunday morning wherein nobody is there. It was so still, it was so quiet, so calm, so tranquil. It was it it looked like as if tables have turned all over. So but now it was so also still. I had counted on to commotion to get to my desk without being seen, but of course that day everything had to be as quiet as Sunday morning. Through the window I saw my classmates already in their places, and M. Hamill walking up and down with his terrible iron ruler under his arm. I had to open the door and go in before everybody. You can imagine how I blushed and how frightened I was, right? So through the window, I saw my classmates. So through the window, he saw his classmates already who were sitting in their places, at their desks, and M. Hamill walking, and down with his terrible iron ruler. That means he was walking, and he had to open the door and go in before everybody. So he had to literally go in front of everybody. He had to pass and go and sit on his seat. For that, he had to face the humiliation of being late. So he was frightened that he would be scolded. But nothing happened. Nothing of that sort happened. That was something astonishing, right? I blushed. Nothing happened. M. Hamill saw me and said very kindly, "Go to your place quickly, little Franz. We were beginning without you." So nothing happened. He did not get scolded. M. Hamill did not scold him. He did not even utter a word. He saw me and said very kindly, in fact, "Go to your place quickly, little Franz. We were beginning without you. We were beginning without you." Please underline the sentence. I jumped over the bench and sat down at my desk. Not till then, when I had got a little over my fright, did I see that our teacher had on his beautiful green coat, his frilled shirt, and the little black silk cap all embroidered that he never wore except on inspection and prize days. So now he even noticed that M. Hamill was wearing his beautiful green coat, his frilled shirt, and little black silk cap, all embroidered that he never wore except on inspection and prize days. So every time he used to wear this, he usually used to wear on he usually used to dress up like this on inspection or prize days. Besides this, but today it was neither an inspection day nor a prize day, right? You need to keep this in mind. Besides, the whole school seemed so strange and solemn. But the thing that surprised me the most was to see on the back benches that were always empty the village people sitting quietly like ourselves. Old Hauser with his three-cornered hat, the former mayor, the former postmaster, and several others besides. Everybody looked sad, and Hauser had brought an old primer, thumbed at the edges, and he held it open on his knees with his great spectacles lying across the pages.